Is that a tree? What's hanging from it?
Guards, by the looks of it.
Must be a way across.
There's a bridge here, obviously. Source. What is the tree? That's the interesting question.
Are those the gods?
Amadia hangs before you, her face cut and bruised, her chest barely moving. You think you see a tear run down her cheek. You lean in. That's no tear. It's source. The shimmering liquid is seeping from her wounds and dripping to the ground below her.
What are you up to now, my dear?
Blessing the cursed god.
Better to leave those lost souls be. They can't help us.
The calm breeze blows through you. It again. Let's find out what it wants.
You've grown since last we met. You seem taller, stronger. I'm proud of you, and not a minute too soon. The gods are indisposed. This is our hour. Soon enough, we'll become divine.
Divine? Ask if that's the end point of all this.
But of course, you're God-woken after all. To ascend is your birthright. And now that you and I are joined, it's mine too.
Wonder if this mysterious it is Brachus Rex or someone related to him. Because he was denied godhood or divinity. That was always the goal. So the plan could be try to basically sneak into another. The reason I'm saying this is because Brachus Rex rears his ugly head constantly in these games. I don't know why. It's like not like well, I don't have a good grasp of the lore of the game, so maybe it's somehow important. But to me, it seems like they're stuck on an old villain and can't let it go.
The gods are on the decline. There's room at the top. Room for us. We ought to be grateful that fool of Aleutian squandered his chance.
Ask what happened to the gods. There's no point being bitching about that with the other me here. I want to know as much as possible.
They were playing out of their league. 7 mice can't hope to outclaw a cat. We owe that cat quite a lot. Let's be sure to show it our gratitude when we have it kissing our feet.
Ask it what is capable of incapacitating the gods like this.
You've met it before in one form or another. The Void doesn't exactly keep a low profile. And believe me when I say, you'll need me if you're to withstand it.
Tell it to enjoy its fantasies while it can. You'll exorcise it from you soon enough.
I'll remind you you said this when all our dreams, our greatest aspirations, have come true. Believe me, Losa. I came here to help you become the person you're supposed to be.
Yeah, again, that person you're supposed to be. Everyone wants to be me to be something that I'm currently not.
You feel it, don't you? That burning cold. That's the void. It's coming here. It's coming for the gods. And it'll come for you too. This isn't the moment for making enemies. Remember that.
What's happened here? Where is everyone?
The same troubled look is visible on each face. You've seen the gods beaten and defiled, strung up as a warning.
Ralik should be my god too, but he doesn't speak to me. Even a desperate god doesn't see me as his champion.
The gods are dead. Long live the God-woken. If the Seven should indeed come to nothing, I'll be ready to take their place.
I've got my weapon, I've got my wits. And now, I've got a new enemy. If the Void wants me, well, I say let it come. I'm ready.
What can yet be blessed, can yet be restored. One way or another, Divinity will survive. Through all of you, and all of me.
Fair enough. Do anyone want to share their stories?
Yes. Is it an audience you desire?
What he thinks about what you witnessed in the Hall of Echoes?
It was all a bit ominous, wasn't it? With the Divine dead and Divinity itself dying. It seems we have no choice but to venture forth and, for lack of a better phrase, save the world. Bit of a bother, if you ask me. I had other plans entirely for the weekend.
Your eyes brim with inquiry, so ask.
Tell her you've noticed the sheep is scarred just like she is.
Ha! People will enslave anything these days. At least back in my day, they had the elegance to opt for an elf.
Ask Sabine where's she from? Where's home?
Home? There's no such thing. I hail from the land that was. The kingdom of fog. The grave of Divinity. If ever I had a home, it has long since gone up in the smoke of death fog, along with so many elves. So, no home, except everywhere, really. The world is mine. It's mine because I say it is.
She looks at you expectantly.
Yes. You may bow before the Queen of the World.
Smile and play along. Go down on one knee and bow to her.
We, the Queen of the World, smile upon thee with favor. We dub thee Knight of the Needle. Arise, good lady, and wear your title proudly.
She takes you by the hands and laughs heartily as you stand up.
How kind of you to play along. We won't forget.
Ask what she makes of the gods, the tree, and everything.
What I have seen is a cautionary tale. The world needs a divine, I grant you that, but look at what a god may be reduced to. A soul aquiver with fear. Lost, alone, and forsaken.
I've been sailing for a long time, but I don't know I've ever seen so much drama. Not in all my years. Hooking up with your crew's been nothing if not eventful.
The tree.
I don't know. I've never been one for worshipping. I always figured if Duna really existed, he'd show himself. I mean, am I really supposed to ask some invisible dwarf in the sky to grant world peace? Or give me a pony? Yeah, it sounded like a waste of time to me. But, then he showed himself. He said he could help me free our people if I helped him. And I left with more questions than when I started.
I wonder if that's what happened with everyone. They encountered something that promised them whatever they wanted. in exchange of help. So it's hard to say what exactly we saw there. Was it reality or some sort of illusion? We certainly know that the Void has definitely the capability of manipulating events and things you see, so I think we should take everything with a pinch of salt here. It is a vision, whether it's actually true or not, we have no idea. Also, where is everyone?
Malady got me here. Maybe she can get me out.
No loot. So if you want to loot the corpses, you have to do it while the fighting is going on. Also, the fight has a maybe 4 or 5 turn timer, something along those lines. So whatever you want to achieve, you have to achieve in that time frame. That's a tight timer. That might be the reason why there's no real point in trying to kill the 2 head guys. There's not enough time to do the required damage. You have to do thousands of points of damage to take them down. In 5 turns, that's a tough order. It is impossible through normal means. You have to put everything on the line. It's not undoable though. I mean, you could take like 4 summoners for example. That's 8 attackers right there. Make some scrolls, things like that. It's not undoable, just what would be the point? It's not like the game. No. I was about to say it's not like the game would sort of take it under consideration when considering plot anyway, but I actually have no idea if it would. It usually does. Not sure why it wouldn't in this case. Rotten eggs and some honey. Right, there doesn't appear to be anything new or interesting here. We've looted all. Ooh, we haven't looted that. There's something that I haven't looted here. A box. And it's empty. Maybe the lower level has something. Right, am I the only one alive? I'm sure Malady is still somewhere, but there was at least
Not a soul down.
someone else.
Just
Garrett,
stillness.
leader of the Seekers. Where did I use the, yeah, where did I use the source point? I blessed one of the gods. I'm assuming the guy here is gone. Yes. Everything loot. Almost everything is gone. Skeletal cat is gone. Take the extra glasses there. I didn't notice this before. It's a strong box there. Pages and pages of undated diary entries fill the well cared for yet well worn tome. Of course, I'd like to think that this makes sense because all of this is for nothing if I lose my head. The only thing I can count on to guide me is my good sense. Without that, I'm no better than them. Is it really as mad as it seems? We're so alike. There's a kinship there I've never felt before. Suppose history would paint me the same way it painted him. If I don't succeed, Dallis the Tyrant, Dalix Rex. Power is important. I said it to him in one form, and he said it back to me in another. Power is necessary in order to do great things, worthy things. The only worthy thing. He knew that, and so do I. The heads break along the way, but in those shockwaves something invaluable shakes loose. I've never met anyone who understands this. What I wouldn't give to open those bars and go and sit beside him. Look straight into his eyes. I bet I'd see my own reflection in them. What am I waiting for? Toward the end of the diary, one entry stands out. It is written in large, unkept print. It's the same hand as before, but not the same mood. Amazing. He's seen so much more in me than even I knew to look for. That form he has shown me. Hard to believe I ever believed my wings were figurative. I wonder if this is more or less the same with a lot of people. All of the God-woken people. They each have their own other, or a sponsor, or someone who basically wants to push toward godhood and get there with the same time. Spirit of Ifan. It's probably dead then. It wasn't part of the party. Maybe that was the warning we received before the naval fight. This might be the last moment, basically, where you can choose what party you'll have until the end of the game. I don't know. I have no interest in talking to him, though. Doesn't matter one way or another. We have the party we have, and we made the choice right at the start of the game.
Where have you been? I can't keep this up much longer. We need to go.
Look around the hold. Some people are missing. Ask her where they are.
Seeker's dead, Alexander missing, God-woken passengers deceased. And unless you want to die too, we need to go. Now.
What's going on? Where are we?
There's no time. I can't hold us here. Brace yourself. This might hurt. A lot.
The chill of the Hall of Echoes clung to the Lady Vengeance as it returned to the shores of Reaper's Coast. The Godwoken were alive, but what of the gods?
What of the gods? Should be a fishing village of Driftwood, I guess. Assuming we actually ended at the destination we set out to go for too.
Solid ground materializes beneath your feet. Your weight falls back into your body all at once, and bright sunlight stings your eyes. As your eyes adjust, you realize you're still aboard the Lady Vengeance. A gust of fresh sea air caresses you, and warm sunshine prickles your skin.
Oh, one moment, please. Oh, just a moment.
Malady explodes in a fit of retching that racks her body. At last, she sneezes and expels a glob of something shiny and silver onto the deck. It wriggles quickly off the siding and plummets into the sea with a splash.
Ah, better. Let's not do that again anytime soon. Hmm?
Ask her what exactly happened back there.
Well, we needed to escape, didn't we? So I took us the one place I was quite certain Dallas couldn't follow. I suppose you recognized the Hall of Echoes from those visions you'd had before. Realm of the dead, realm of divinity. I do hope you learned something useful on our little field trip.
Say you're sorry to disappoint her, but that doesn't seem to be the case. You only met the thing in your head again. He was gloating over the condition of the gods.
Condition? What do you mean?
Describe to her everything you saw and heard in the Hall of Echoes.
I see. So, the gods were bound and cursed by the void, and the thing inside you, the very powerful thing inside you, told you you need to become the next divine. Well then, it sounds like you need to ascend, doesn't it? And quickly.
She inspects her fingernails with great attention, then looks up at you from under an arched eyebrow.
Did it mention how you were meant to become the next divine?
Admit it was somewhat vague on that point.
Well, luckily for you, Mama Malady is here to help. We already know you can bless, but as far as I know, you can neither see source nor take it as you see fit. I may not know much about divinity, but I do know that any godwoken worth their salt will know how to perform all these oh so fantastic feats. You need to go see the Meister.
Tell her to think again. You've cast source spells before, and you've taken source in order to do so.
As have I, but not in the ways a true godwoken can. Forget those ghastly little jars and wands to which small people must resort. You ought to be able to see and speak to the spirits that wander our realm, and you ought to be able to extract the source they leave behind, too. All this just by your little old onesie. No devices, no gimmicks. When you're done, you'll be able to amass and unleash quantities of source so great that Lucian himself would blush. I quite look forward to seeing it.
Ask where you can find this Meister.
She's got one of those things in Driftwood, you know, the building where people go and they do things inside of it. A home, that's it. She's got a home in Driftwood. Give me your map. There you are. Tell her I sent you and she'll handle the rest. You're at the beginning of a long journey, Godwoken. Long, but exceedingly interesting. Now, I must be going, and so must you.
Ask where she's off to.
Shopping.
Right. Okay, ask how you can get to shore.
Why, our faithful little sloop, of course. We can all ride together. Won't that be terribly fun? One more word, Losa. I'm concerned about you. Other Godwoken meet with one of the seven. You've been meeting up with an apparition from your own mind. That isn't good.
No shit. Tell her your every waking moment is focused on finding a way to get it out of you.
Good. There's a fellow I'd like you to seek out. He might be able to help you. Last I heard, he's on business outside the Blood Moon Island to the north of Driftwood. He's a demonologist, Jahan by name.
Jehan was in the first game. One of the companions. Hunting down his own personal demon. Thank her. You'll do just that.
Good luck, Losa. You'll certainly need it. If I'm not back by the time you find out where our journey takes us next, you can call me back here. Tell the ship. She'll know how to summon me. And in the unlikely case you don't manage to do whatever it is you'll need to do to become what you need to become, you could call me, but I would be grateful if it doesn't come to that.
Don't fuck it up. That's what she's saying. There are other people at least alive. Sergeant Zula sold companions. With a child and Gareth.
Hello again. That's twice now you've saved my skin. And I think it's time to start repaying the favours. I could fetch some stuff you need, maybe. Ma always said I was a great runner.
Tell him you could certainly use a thing or two. Crafting components. These aren't exactly equal in value. High quality essences. Let's start with something simple. Give me empty bottles. No, not potion bottles. I mean empty bottles. Proper empty bottles. Do they have empty bottles? No. Can I use potion bottles as empty bottles? Plate armor would also suffice.
Sure thing. I'll start hunting that down right away. Don't wait up.
It should be an easy thing to test though. I have empty bottles after all. Somewhere. Possibly. There'll be crafting items though, so probably in different location compared to consumables. Where the hell are empty bottles? It's not a recipe. I'll take some oil in a cup though. Where'd they go?
Allies for hire.
Does a decent amount of damage at the moment. We'll probably go higher.
Hail, friend, and remember, in Lucian's love there can be no wrong.
Hungry flower.
Whatever type of companion you need, I can provide.
Acidic spores emit cursed poison clouds. Summon the creature. Earthquake. Earthquake was one of the most powerful spells in the first game, because it attacks and knocks down people in the same attack, so you can basically throw it from a scroll every turn, keep people from doing anything. Resist by physical armor. Also creates oil, so could create fast oil fire fields.
Expert warriors for hire. All seasoned in combat.
Poison wave.
Let you down.
Gives immunity to poison and earth damage for one turn. Also a massive amount of poison damage. Blitz attack. Jump from one target to another, hitting up to 2 targets. Targets are chosen randomly in a 10-meter radius. This is a Warfare 2 ability, I'll take that immediately. Teleportation for him. Reflective barrier. Projectiles that hit you are reflected back at the caster. Does not prevent the original projectile effect. Provides physical armor. Phoenix dive. Leap through the air toward the target position, creating a fire surface upon landing. Another warfare ability, and it's a tier 2 ability, so doesn't really require much. Thick of fight. gain a 10% damage boost for every nearby character or totem, including yourself. The more the merrier. So just this would be the best thing ever for a solo character, because even if you're always alone, you might be able to summon things. Actually, this would probably be better the larger group you have, the more summoners you have. Solo because you're always surrounded, rather. But it costs source, so you can't really use it. Also, I'm broke, like totally broke. And I don't think I really have all that much to sell anymore. Might be able to steal one of the books. You're right, I could sell a couple of items, but there's the but. There shouldn't be buts here. Right, I just can't afford it at the moment. There's no ifs or buts about that. I might be able to steal one of the books, that's it. I'm not sure I want to even risk stealing from him. Okay, what are your plans?
Paradise awaits, my friend. Not an actual paradise, of course. I don't think there's such a place in all of Rivellon. Paradise Downs. My parents still sow the soil there. And if the Order hadn't called me to its ranks, I'd still call their farm my home.
Where's the boy? The boy ran away.
The sergeant doesn't seem interested in...
Thievery 3 required. I think there was a chance to buy a thievery item that could have gotten my thievery to 3, but it was a bit too expensive. No? Yeah. I think I want to make a couple of teleportation scrolls, if at all possible.
I miss it. I miss them. They've been forever understanding of my duty. But I admit, I've been neglectful. I have some wrongs to right.
Take your lead. I could have used the teleportation scroll I had in the previous fight. Not to. We got pillows. Pretty sure I have a knife somewhere. How many feathers can you get? A feather. I'll take another. Cup of oil. Why is it food? Dwarven stew. Beer and food.
Whatever type of companion you need.
Right, I'm pretty sure I can produce both. What's the difference? Now everyone can cast a teleport in a turn.
Warriors for hire, all seasoned in combat. They won't let you down.
Right, what's the difference between the foods? Oh, for God's sakes. Strength, Dwarven Stew. Heals 20%, Strength 1. Strength 2 heals 20%, so the dinner is better in every sense. No. Duration 6 turns. Duration 6 turns. Yeah, I don't get the point of the Dwarven Stew. And it's an upgraded version of the dinner. Harkman.
I hadn't realized I was in such illustrious company when we met before. Most fascinating, the things I've been hearing about you.
Mark that many aboard this ship died during recent ordeals. How is it that he survived?
Why, it was your ally, Malady, who spared me. She claimed that I might be of some use yet. Rather flattering to enjoy the favor of such a powerful being.
You wouldn't happen to have thievery item of some sort? Preferably an affordable one. I think the item set has definitely changed. There's some of the same items, but there's also new. Yeah, scrolls are starting to become a thing now. Right, can't afford any of this shit anyway, so... Wonder what he's heard about you.
That you're, how did Malady put it again? A god-woken. Yes, that's it. Quite remarkable if it's true.
Why is something like that of interest to you?
Come now. You've seen the state of things. A potential savior from all this void-woken nonsense would be of interest to everyone with a beating heart. And some without, I would imagine.
Ask if this alters his opinion of you somehow.
Tarquin pauses, taking you in. Genial smile and calculating eyes.
Most people are too sentimental to admit that friendship is a transaction. I am not. I'm sure we can both be of use to each other.
I'd like to say that's not a foundation for a friendship, but it's or not foundation of a very good relationship, but I sort of disagree with that. You may not be out looking to use the other, but you have to have some sort of a transactions going on between them, otherwise the relationship will wither. It will cease to be. Alternatively, if it's a very one-sided one, you feel that you're being used. Tell him that sounds pretty good. He can let you know if he needs anything.
Marvelous. Great things abound in our future, I'm sure.
Reaper Coast.
Here we are, Reaper's Coast. We made it.
Something, tell her you'll buy her a drink in the nearest tavern.
You celebrate too early. To be godwoken is all well and good, but above all, I've yet to find the Master. Somewhere further inland, Roost Anlon breathes. All I have to do now is pick up his scent and make his last breath worth my while.
That's gonna be a tough sell. Poison. Why is there poison here? Poison everywhere. Meister's house to the beach. So Jahan's last seen here, right? Why does Beast have a flag following him?
Not much of a landlubber, but sometimes I get no choice in the matter. Besides, Malady said this Meister lady's the key, so we follow her lead.
Beast pauses for a moment to consider whether he's forgotten anything important.
I'd also appreciate it if we dealt with this Lohar fella. He's the key to unlocking this mess Justinia's made.
Yeah, about the Queen.
I'll stop this operation downfall of hers, all right. And finding Lohar in these parts and dealing with him is the first step in doing just that.
Go ahead.
How royalty... No. Tell him he still hasn't explained what led to his expulsion from the ancient empire.
He sighs, rather dramatically.
Oh, perhaps that's because I don't quite enjoy broaching the subject.
Tell him to broach it anyway.
If I must. The long and short of it is that I was banished because I was found in bed with a demon.
You've got to be kidding me. He deals with demons?
Do you really think I'd be so incredulously stupid as to deal with them? No, I merely summoned them for my amusement. You clearly have a hard time understanding all this, so let me paint you a picture. I am a prince of the House of War. There are others with that title, but none of them are the Red Prince, the jewel in the crown of the Empire. I lived in the Forbidden City, a vast complex of palaces that houses the royal family and its servants. No others are allowed to enter it. As for myself, I was never allowed out. That is the price I paid for my genius. I was too valuable to be exposed to the dangers of the outside world. All the wars I won, and I won them all, of course, I won from the comfort of sofas. Bring me information, and I will deduct, then instruct. From amid the ultimate opulence of my quarters, I expanded and very much ruled the Empire. I had it all. And frankly, I got bored.
Say that from the sounds of it, he suffered from the gilded cage syndrome.
Exactly. I did not suffer the boredom of some spoiled brat. Mine was the absolute absence of challenge, the longing not simply to watch the horizon, but to journey towards it. If I could not experience the joys of the world beyond, I had to bring the world to me. Miraculous what a sorcerer can do with a little arcane lore. I summoned demons, the most dangerous game in the world. But they knew they met their match in me, and so we conversed. We drank wine, we played chess. Converse with demons and you learn of the shadows behind creation. Drink wine with them and you have visions of worlds beyond worlds. Play chess and you know that one wrong move is certain death. My mind rejoiced. Now for the body, I reasoned, so with a certain succubus I spent nights that would surpass your understanding.
Think it over and say that it actually sounds exhilarating.
So you do comprehend. I spent a whole year in the company of demons, every night atop the white library tower of my palace. It was my great study of existence. It was my supreme joy, even if...
Even if he desired something even greater?
He gives you a long, respectful look.
How unexpectedly shrewd you are. What happened next was simply unforeseen. One moonless night, the succubus that was my lover turned to me, fangs exposed. But I could tell from the glint in her eyes she wasn't bent on our usual fang play. There was no light in that glint. It was the darkness of the void, the wet darkness of spilt blood. And in short, I was afraid. I tried to move away, but it was too late. She was upon me. She had done it. She had outmaneuvered the Red Prince. Finally, I was vanquished.
First things first, what in the name of the seven is fang play?
Oh, yes. Do allow me to explain.
The Red Prince regales you with an unsettlingly graphic description of what you consider to be a rather eccentric, if not aberrant, form of sexual gratification.
But of course that was all still rather innocent. I could tell you all about something truly special some other time if you like.
Yeah, any time.
Something to look forward to? Now where was I? Ah yes, the succubus. She went for my neck, quick as a charging cobra, but then suddenly it's as if time ground to a halt. Something deep inside me welled up, a power I never knew I had. She simply froze under my stare. Then she screamed. A scream so abhorrent its ripples caused birds to fall dead from the sky. People covered their ears in vain as they went insane. The Imperial Guard forced itself into my chambers and found me with the succubus still on top of me. I believe the phrase is caught red-handed.
Ask him how royalty finds life on the road.
At first, I admit it was all rather tiring. I was, after all, marched out of my own empire, and I've been hounded by the odd assassin ever since. After that came the indignity of the collar and incarceration. But ever since we decided to be so bold as to bid our farewell to Fort Joy by any means, it's all been rather fun. Oh, I could complain about the food and the lodgings and the sheer barbarity of the common folk. But in truth, all of that fits within the larger frame that is adventure. Adventure is precisely what my life was missing. I told you earlier I could tell you tales about what it was like to be a prince of the house. Tales that would last us 1,000 nights. That is true. But I'd much rather speak of the tale we are shaping now.
Say you're still interested in his stories.
Accompany me back to my empire and I'll tell them all in the palatial setting they deserve.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes.
Ask Sabine why she kills her chosen targets with a needle. Why not use a sword or a dagger?
I was given my needle by the master. Guess I'm just sentimental like that.
Come on. There has to be more to it than that.
Fine, if it means that much to you.
She draws her needle and holds it up between thumb and index finger.
Go on. Ever so gently touch the tip.
Very well. Reach out and lightly place a finger on the needle's tip.
Barely have you touched the needle's pinpoint surface when a thick droplet of blood wells up from your fingertip.
Sharp little minx, isn't she? Sabine, this needle was forged in an altogether different world. It wasn't wrought upon a crude anvil hammered into shape with rough blows. No, it was cast with demon precision. It is absolutely priceless, and it's yours. The master's own words. And he was right. As an instrument of assassination, it's absolutely priceless. But one day soon, he'll find out just how much he overspent on his gifts for little old me. Just why this needle is a girl's best friend. One might say I'm a bit of a sucker for poetic justice.
Tells Abil, you wonder how she ever managed to escape from her master.
Ha! A tale of cloaks and daggers and daredevilry. You up for it?
You'd love to hear it.
Wonderful.
She bows with thespian flair.
Imagine a black room. It's been your room for years. You know it by touch more than sight, for it's always dark. And when I say always dark, I mean always dark. You're either in the room or in the box, for it's in the box that you travel. You're only let out at night, because you only hunt in the night, with the Master's voice in your ears urging you on. And after it's done, you lie down in the box once more, with wet hands and mad red thoughts.
Cough nervously and say her tone earlier suggested a more light-hearted story.
You can't always get what you want. The thing is, the box didn't break me, though I confess it taught me to hate. One night, I killed a scholar. With my needle through his fragile old skull, he fell headfirst upon his writing desk, blood mingling with spilt ink. It's when I saw the ink that timid thoughts of rebellion first bloomed. Back in my dark room, I dipped my needle that killed the scholar in his own ink, and engraved his name in my skin. I'd remember him. I'd honor him with vengeance. His name was the first, but many more followed.
Ask if you may see the name.
Of course.
She bares her left arm and shows you the name. You softly run your finger across it.
Mindarin. He was Turashar, a keeper of stories. I'm sure he was loved by many. People like him, the beloved dead, they kept me going. Then, one day, it happened. A gush of wind, a sliver of light. Light! I hardly knew it for what it was. A simple oversight that comes with habit. A door, left slightly ajar. That was all I needed to feel a rush of blood, a thirst for liberation like never before. I tore at the shackles that kept me chained to the floor, iron thick as a smith's wrists. Of course they wouldn't budge, they never did before. But now that I saw the light, something welled up inside me, a raw and undeniable burst of power. The shackles broke, and next thing I knew, I was free. I stood alone outside the ruins of a fortress, snow-capped peaks all around me. But the sun, oh, the sun. I had risen as if from the grave, and she kissed me back to life.
Sigh deeply. You stand quite perplexed. What a story that was.
Ain't over yet, honey.
Right. Do you want to say more?
Not much of a landlubber, but sometimes I get no...
Right. Let's at least take a look around. There's another city here. It's actually probably our first, but more or less the area, or like the ghetto. So there's going to be a ton of NPCs and people to talk to. That will suck up a huge amount of time. I think we should probably aim for something specific. The Meister seems like a good target, simply because tier 3 abilities require the source. Quite a few of them. And some of them are totally unusable at our current level. So I think we should push that to the point where we either get an explanation or a goal that allow us to see how the hell this is supposed to work mechanically. Because currently this shit isn't gonna work. their skills are unusable. I don't see how you could push their spells forward. They already take 3 action points, so you have 4 in a turn. Yeah, they can go a little bit further, maybe up to 5 or 6, so you have to wait a turn before you can use them. Something along those lines. But the source cost is going to go up too, and I can't deal with that. There's just nowhere to go. Meister's home. We could go along the beach. There looks to be a harbor there, so we would end up in the same place no matter what. Might be able to explore a few things on the way. There's a shark. Yep. Why is there a shark? Another question. Why is there so much shit here? Poison everywhere. A lot of fishies. Void tainted crimson beam. Void tainted crimson beam. Okay, everything's void tainted. That's the poison.
A dying shark lies gasping on the sand, bleeding from the mouth and gills. It turns its dark and soulless eyes to you. Its bloody gills open in search of water, but find only air.
Offer to drag it back into the water.
It gasps in the air, struggling for the breath to speak. Its own blood froths at its mouth.
No, die here. Monsters in the water. Monsters in the deep.
Remarked by its blood-stained teeth, in the sea it should have little to fear.
Monsters bigger. More and more growing.
Offer to put it out of its misery.
It looks at you with its cold, flat eyes as if to say, do what you will. Then it turns away and gets back to drowning in the bloody sunshine.
Yeah, it's basically gonna die anyway. I just feel like I've been doing this for quite a lot recently. Just killing people that are suffering on the beach. Not necessarily on the beach, but with no hope of really being rescued. Also, what the fuck is that doing? That guy. Sabine, what the fuck are you doing? Void tainted this and that. Did end. What the fuck is that? Volatile boiling, viscous boiling. Dead civilians. Okay. Viscous is something we know. These are a little bit tougher versions. These are probably explosive versions. Let them do their thing. Not much I can do. Want to let them come as close as possible, then unleash Red Prince and Sabine on them. Red Prince can do an area of effect attack, probably hitting 4, maybe even 5 of them. These will be critical hits. Might be able to hit most of them. God damn it, can't quite get to the correct place. This would, I think, get 4 maybe. Right. Cursed fire. Well, that's no good. Most of these are already dead. Right. There's not much I can do about it. Okay, does blood work on it? Ah. Still, these are rubbish opponents. You need to have both types of armors. You just got to. There's a blood track leading here. Probably should follow it. Hazy Ruby. High quality fire essence. High quality fire. What's the difference between it probably affects it's a way basically to limit certain high level uses of essences. I sort of thought splitting things to essences and runes would have been the end of it, but apparently no. High quality is probably for high level spells. Could be for enchanting runes too, I suppose. So lower quality runes or weaker runes versus the better ones. What leads here?
The Magister caravan. I remember one just like this picking me up. Could have been a shipment to Fort Joy. But what happened here?
High quality earth essence here. A dwarf with Anhar's boots. These finely stitched boots show the marks of Dwarven Empire labor, each whorl in the leather a rune telling the family lineage of the owner, Anhar, son of Lohar. Well, that's important. Oh, this survivor. Dwarven War Maiden.
White as driftwood salt, the dwarf flinches at your approach, yet she holds a short, clean blade aloft. Her fierce stance can't hide the trembling of her fingers.
Back! Get back! I'll kill you, just like the rest of them.
Shh, lass. I know you're all afraid. In times like these, I don't blame you. But I ain't out to hurt you. Now, why don't you take a few breaths and tell me what happened?
Step back. Beast seems to know what he's doing.
She slumps, all bravado draining from her.
No. I've never seen anything like those beasts before. Are they gone?
Voidwoken, you mean? Poor thing. No wonder you were scared. I'd be scared too.
Those... yes. Worst ones I've ever seen. Ripped through the Magisters. The dwarves. Dead. And the sorcerers. Gone.
Her eyes stare vacantly into the distance, glassy as marbles. It's not cold, yet her shivering is relentless.
I don't know. Oh, Duna's beard. Lohar. My boss, Lohar, will want to know what happened to them, but I can't remember.
Lohar, eh? Where will I find this boss of yours?
Oh, well, you'll find him in Effie's Emporium, neath the Black Bull. He's a fine man. A little gruff, yeah. But he's the only one in Driftwood wanting to help and not hurt.
She looks up at Beast through tear-stained eyes. But you can see her resolve hardening as she remembers who she is and what she stands for.
Oh, Seven sympathy. I saw those things dragging the sorcerers along the cliffs towards the Wreckers' caves. Oh, no more. It's gone.
Wreckers' caves.
She flinches at the slightest rustle of wind through the long grass. Terror in her eyes, she stumbles away from you.
And she's gone.
Lucky find.
Someone needs more lore master. God damn it, it's become a big problem. Can't use the equipment I find automatically. I have to pay overall in hundreds of gold to identify things. It'll only get more expensive as we get better items. Potentially items for our rogue. Yeah, we would lose 1 point of finesse. But I don't think our gauntlets have room. They do not. And our defenses suck. Hainal Lechet. Our current weapon is because it does more damage. Anal Ledge does more damage, has an elemental effect, has more critical hit chance, plus strength, plus constitution, plus two-handed, plus hydrosophist, set a shield for 1 turn, plus 25% cleave damage. So there's just a massive difference. 60 to 65, 83 to 102. Yeah, there's a minor upgrade. This immense axe appears to have been crafted solely from hardened spite and malice. It suits you perfectly. Well, I don't want to disagree with that. It does suit me perfectly, and this is for normal hits. Do 100 points of damage on normal hits. If I can get it to critical, that's substantially more damage. We'll probably get closer to double damage at least, if we push it. Right, very pleased with that. Little wings. Ah, chickens. I don't want to talk with everyone now. I just want to get to the Meister's house. I'm sure there's a ton of things we can talk to and do here.
The kid is whistling an off-key tune as he strolls about shiftily. He raises an eyebrow at your approach, but says nothing.
What's he up to?
Ain't up to Al. Just looking for someone. Seen Ben Mesd.
Say you saw him in the past, but he's not here.
Too bad.
The kid shoves his hands in his pockets and ambles off, resuming his tuneless whistling.
You ever think about running off, like Barmby and Sam did?
Hell no. You know what Raymond would do if he caught us? Get yourself in check, boy. I won't have you running off like Millicent and Tully. You'll just end up sliding down some Voidwoken's gross gullet, piece by piece.
The older-looking Magister notices your presence. He wipes his grubby hands downward across his greaves, as if to wipe away the grime, but instead smears more dirt onto them.
Halt! What word do you bring?
Ask him what word he seeks.
Word of battle? Word of our Magister brothers and sisters? What can you tell us?
Take a solemn tone. You don't need to see the bodies to know their fellow Magisters are dead.
The younger one's face goes pale, and his eyes widen. The other remains stiff, as if bracing himself against an unseen wind.
The Voidwoken come.
Hush, Fader. You may pass, traveller. Dare say you'll be aching to leave before long anyway. But before you do, find Raymond, the White Magister. He'll want to know what you've seen. Be quick, mind. He's set to sail any moment.
He nods his head in the direction of the bridge, but offers no other instructions.
You ever think about running off, like Barmby and Sam did?
Well, at least we got inside without a fight. Should I report this?
This town looks peaceful enough. Let's find out if looks deceive.
Magister leadership in Driftwood. It's close enough, I suppose. And maybe there might be trouble if we keep ignoring it. Yeah, there's a ton of NPCs here. We're gonna ignore most of them. Report and head to the Meister's house.
That's it. The barrels and the chests. On the double.
Magister Raymond, level 12.
You too, Julian. Show him how it's done, man. Go on, you mute sacks of flesh. Put your backs into it. I'll not lose another day to the tide. The Lord Dread awaits. Its sails billow with Dallas's breath.
The Magister stops, barking orders. He sniffs the air like a predator, turns to face you, the wolf eyeing the deer.
Intense fellow, this one. Keep calm and courteously bid him good. No. Look over his ship and ask him where he's going.
I'm going nowhere right at this moment. Nowhere since something crossed my path and oh so very sharply piqued my interest. Tell me, have you ever been strung up by the hands? Your body swinging like a bell's clapper as your bones are being broken with cast iron rods?
Sigh and state such cruelty is unworthy of a fellow human being.
We do cruel things unto others and unto ourselves because we must.
He licks his lips. Dry flesh turns wet.
See, I'd like to string you up too. Rack you with rods and leave you dangling over a puddle of your own blood and piss.
Cross your arms and say, you've had quite enough of this. What's this game?
My favorite one. I'm very good at what I do, see? I don't even need a sauce hound yapping at my side. There was a whiff of something in the air when you approached. A current of filth, that is to say, sauce. Best convince me I was mistaken.
How dare he suggest such a thing? Lady Dallas didn't seem to smell a current of filth last time you dined with her in Port Joy.
He leans in closer and sniffs the air once more.
Interesting. So I was mistaken. Must have been ambition I smelt on you, not the magic that dare not speak its name. Very well. In that case, we'll forego the gallows and turn straight to the hunt. No doubt a trustee of Dallas is champing at the bit to see some action. Seems peaceful here, doesn't it? A quiet day in a quiet town. One wouldn't think these drifting woods toss on dwarf-troubled waters, but they do.
You're intrigued. Inquire after these dwarven troubles.
Consider for a moment the dwarf. What is he? A mule? A beast of burden? But some defy that role. There are rats among them, dancing to their rat queen's tune. I've need of a rat catcher.
Urge him to make his point. If you're to accept the role of rat catcher, you'll need more concrete information.
Of course. I must depart post-haste, but Julian here will stay behind and be a good little parrot. Ask and he will answer.
Stay behind? But I've my orders. Same as you.
Like I said, Julian is staying. And with that, I must be off. No hard feelings about the death threats, of course. How about we part shaking hands instead of stringing them up?
Shake his hand, and say you look into the troubles with the dwarves.
How very heartwarming. One last thing. The Magisters here are diligent men and women. A stranger like you may run into troubles with them. Should this happen, just wave this piece of parchment in their eager little faces. My signature will placate them without fail, I assure you. Adieu and good luck. The Lord Dread awaits. The use of the gallows I pass on to you. The time has come, my stitch.
Okay, we got much more from this than I
set sail.
anticipated.
Get on board and man your stations.
Left behind like a dog. Bah! 7 curses upon that ship.
Rite of Passage. As authorized by His Honor the White Magister Raymond, with the blessing of Dallas at the Bishop's right hand, in reverence of Alexander, son of the late Divine, this writ permits its possessor access to areas and information necessary to the fulfillment of the Divine's orders, commands. No further permission shall be requested nor provided. Okay, we might as well learn as much about this as possible. I see a little bit of an advantage here anyway. This will basically allow a few options. The Magisters will share with me whatever they know about the Dwarven doings and events in this area. And I can choose what I'm going to do with that information. Am I going to pursue them, or maybe play them against each other, or what?
The Magister is rubbing the dirt off his robes, none the worse for wear, apparently, from the blast of magic that knocked him off his feet.
You, the so-called friend of Dallas. I'd be whining and dining aboard the Lord Dread if it weren't for you. Your meddling in Magister affairs had better be worth it.
Yeah, I was told to report to you.
Yes, I am very much aware. Wasn't my damned head that hit the floor back there. Now answer me. Did you meet with a Magister caravan on your way into town? The hour's growing late and I'm beginning to worry something might have gone wrong.
Affirm that you did.
By the Bishop's bones, you saw it? Out with it, woman! What happened?
Describe the scene in detail. Even the dead would tremble at the despair you witnessed.
That means source was used. Which means some third party must have attacked first. And I have a fair idea who that might have been.
So dwarves attacked, source was used, Voidwoken came and helped with the whole bunch.
Raymond, that old goat. Always suspected there's more to the Driftwood dwarves than meets the eye. Hate to admit it, but I think he may be right. Too many things have gone wrong along Reaper's Coast to attribute to bad luck. Magister ships sinking, weapons disappearing, and as you've seen, a caravan attacked and destroyed. Rumour has it the Dwarvian Queen herself is behind these acts of sabotage. That is what I want you to prove.
Ask why Raymond and he suspects the dwarves to be the culprits.
They've always been snakes in the grass. Cheap labour, sure. And hard workers too. Half of them are their queen's spies. Her eyes, her ears, her poison-pouring hands. You know what Queen Justinia is like, surely. A tyrant and a master strategist to boot.
Say that if you're to prove these accusations, you have to know where to start looking.
There's a local thug, Lohar. He runs an operation out of his hideout beneath the Black Bull Tavern. I suspect this man of being a spy for his queen.
It may be interesting to have a word with him. Find out what he's up to. Where I really want you to ferret around is Reaper's Bluffs, to the west of Driftwood.
It's wild territory, remote and hostile, where I believe the dwarves may have set up a base of operations away from prying eyes. Should you find any such place, and better yet, proof that Lohar is working in behalf of Queen Justinia, you will be handsomely rewarded, I assure you.
Say you probably know enough for now.
In that case, go forth and let the hunt commence!
Right. Beast is probably going to be a hindrance in this. He'll limit our options. Right, Meister's House should be somewhere north of this. There.
care, missus. The Meister isn't home and the Magister's locked her house up for her.
Of course he did.
They was very angry about it. They said mean things about the Meister and they left a mess, a big one.
Ask her if she knows the Meister personally.
She's my friend. She was one of the Magisters once. She was very high up. She used to look for god people and help them. But then she stopped that and just stayed in the house all the time. She used to play with me, but then the Magisters took her away, they did. They took her outside the village. I'm not allowed outside the village.
Where exactly is she?
She looks around theatrically to see if there's anyone listening.
When the wind blows from over the stream, I can hear the Meister. I can hear her crying.
She gives you a look of the darkest meaning. Then she takes a deep breath, puts on a happy smile, turns, and skips away.
What is that? Looks like a paper, but can't actually interact with it. So what exactly can we do with this door?
The door has been sealed shut. The Magisters have nailed a notice to the door.
Lean in to read the notice.
The notice reads, "Warning, do not enter, crime scene. Meister Siva has been accused of conspiracy, murder and high treason. She shall hang by the hands at the farmlands gallows until trial. Anyone found trespassing on these premises before her trial concludes shall be charged as an accomplice and will share her fate." You notice that the message is signed Magister Raymond in the name of Dallas Most Holy.
I could go in, but I'm here for the person, not the house. We can break in there later. Cries heard across the river. Gallows. Right, am I going to have a trial? Goddamn rat.
Off you go. I can't be seen raternizing with the likes of you.
Raternizing, okay. Ask if she's worried people will think she's a sorcerer.
A sorcerer? Ha! Second rat wizards by my book. That lizard there's a sorcerer, and look at her now, strung up by her hands with a death rattle hanging round her lips.
Please, why would I kill Lucian's second most charming son?
Ask if she's afraid to be seen with you.
Well, I'm a rat, and you're some kind of curious, large-style flesh beast. Never the twain shall mix. Thus spaketh the reddish, large-style flesh beasts. Just look at what happened to that lovely flick-tongued scale slitherer when she spent too much time with a lumbering, large-style flesh beast of her own. No thank you.
Is this really necessary?
Ask her about the lizard hanging at the gallows.
I'll have her eyeball when she's done with it. Won't be long now.
Yeah, take your leave. Meister Siva, grounded. Executioner Nian.
I did not kill
Silent
Alexander,
Watcher.
you stupid ape. Release me.
A Magister guard approaches. Behind her, on the gallows, two lizards. One in a Magister uniform hangs dead from her neck. The other hangs from her hands, still alive.
Where's the... Dead Lizard Magister.
You...
Step away from the prisoner!
Ask about the dead Lizard Magister hanging from the scaffold.
That's internal order business. You do well to leave it alone. Let's just say Zeus and there was of help to sorcerers and leave it at that.
Okay, tell her you're going to set the prisoner free. It'd be wise to look the other way.
You're going to... what, now?
Offer her the opportunity to set the prisoner free herself.
She betrayed Alexander. I'd sooner die than free her.
We can bribe her with 10 gold pieces. Tell her to be prudent. The Meister is a powerful spirit. If she dies here, she may linger even in the afterlife.
I'll regret this, I know I will. All right, I'll stand aside.
Well, that was so easier than I thought.
The lizard hangs from the gibbet, her face blooded and her scales discoloured. Her eyes are closed, but her tongue flickers as you approach.
Welcome to Driftwood, God-woken.
One bloody eye cracks open, glittering gold appearing from beneath the swollen lid.
Chased you all the way here from Fort Joy, did they? Very well then, cut me down. There is work to be done. Or indeed you could stand there like a stage-struck peasant. If you're waiting for me to applaud and cry encore, you may be disappointed. I'm in no position to clap.
Yeah, I don't think this is a good time to talk. Reach up and undo her restraints.
Be quick about it. Who knows when that magistrate might return?
Quickly slice through her restraints and help her down.
God's teeth, it feels good to move again. Now, best scurry off before that magister wanders back. Meet me at my home in Driftwood, and we can see what you're made of.
Are you an undead creature? Just think of healing her. I want to accidentally kill her. Level 9.
The Meister's back! She doesn't feel like playing, but...
The Meister sits slumped in a chair, looking around the room as she works her shoulder with one hand. It looks like it was dislocated by the gallows.
Damnable red cloak baboons ransacking my wardrobes, as if I would keep ancient valuable secrets in a pile with my unmentionables.
She takes a deep breath, and with a twist, a click, and a screech of pain, she shoves her shoulder back into its socket.
I swear by the seven, if we did not have more important matters to attend to.
Reaching across the table, she pulls a bowl of hot water towards her and fishes some bandages, a needle, and thread out of a box. She slowly starts to tend to her wounds.
At least the barbarians were unable to club their way into my vault, so everything you need should be safe.
Watch as she slowly wraps a cut on her arm. Ask why they strung her up.
Apparently I had a claw in murdering their darling divine-in-waiting Alexander.
The Meister wrenches the bandage, pulling the fabric tight against her wound. She winces before tying it off in a neat knot, but you can see the red stain already spreading across the fabric.
Never mind that. That I was here the entire time. Apparently my cunning transcends time, space, and common sense.
Cough uncomfortably. Actually, you're the reason the Magisters are looking for Alexander's killer.
Meister Siva freezes, her eyes locked on you, her claws mid-swipe, cutting a new stretch of bandage.
Why on earth should I have thought anything else? Not that I was sorry to hear about his death. I doubt my grin helped matters during the interrogation.
Grunt. And what do you need to do?
It is not enough to be God-woken in order to ascend to divinity. There is a process.
As she speaks, the Meister uncorks a vial of shimmering liquid, sauce. She lets a couple of drops fall on her hand, but instead of infusing with her body, they quickly evaporate on her scales. She stares at the empty spot on her palm for a long moment before turning back to you, continuing as if nothing had happened.
A process by which God-woken may ascend. It begins with discovering your deepest self, delving into your own soul.
Clap your hands together enthusiastically. Time to give that thing what's coming to it.
Quite.
Cautiously ask what happens next.
We shall begin once we have the tools we need from my vault. You may have been chosen God-woken, but becoming divine requires more than a supernatural pat on the head. Come, God-woken. It is time to see just how awake you are. Fortunately, the Magisters pay as much attention to art as they do to fashion. Kindly remove that painting from the wall. I pray my instructions will not be too technical. Your talent for following simple instructions fills me with one push the button. Now, kindly go to the vault and enter the combination. I shall call it out as you go.
A stone door lies flush with the floorboards. Etched whorls in the granite frame a delicate rotary dial. Gleaming under the dim light, the metallic dial almost seems to wink at you.
Enter the safe combination as the Meister calls it out.
Taking your time, you carefully enter the combination. The metallic sounds of the tumblers falling within the mechanism let you know you entered the code correctly.
Excellent. Follow me. Your time is at hand, God-woken.
Right. Anything worth looting here? Possibly, but nothing particularly interesting. I think this is a good place to end for now. Looks like we have some important business after this. I doubt it's going to be a 5-minute affair. The origins of Lucian. There was a great need then, unfathomable forces of darkness, forces so great the seven themselves could not hold them at bay. It began to gather like storm clouds. We've read this before. Gods themselves couldn't hold the evil at bay. They needed a vessel to do it for them, so they poured their essence into him, I guess. There isn't all that much interesting things here. T is for troll. Couple books. Holy hand grenade. This book that contains detailed instructions how to throw and when to release the holy hand grenade. There's even exercises that you can fill in, and very complicated rules explaining how to organize the role-playing game for practicing the actual throw. Finally, on the last page, there is a simple recipe on how to make one. Find the rare holy hand grenade orb, open it and fill it up with a starfish. Then close it and buy one in a shop. Or buy one in a shop. It was a healing grenade, I seem to recall. Probably. Maybe. Never recall using it. Yeah, starfish and a sovereign orb. Healing grenade. Chucking arrows made from teeth. Any cutting tool and... no, this is arrowhead. Nothing new. What? Okay, if you have a tool, you can make thread from hair. If you don't have a tool, you need to use 2 hairs to make thread. Anything new? I don't recall seeing anything new in a long time. My biggest complaint about this is really that there is almost no reason to make these. Summoning seems to require tormented souls. Shadow for necromancy, elemental for elemental ones. Crab claw. Don't recall seeing crab claws. Rallying cry. This is summoning garlic. Water and life for resurrection. I'm just seeing if there's anything actually useful here. Yeah, probably enough rat tails if you would kill every rat you encounter. I think the torturer trait might be one of the more valuable ones. It allows you to bypass certain armors with certain abilities. Burning, poison, bleeding, necrofire, acid, suffocating, entangled, death with ruptured tendons. But you would then have to focus on those to some extent. I don't get the Death Wish though. Because Death Wish is a buff. Yep. Target character receives a damage bonus equal to the percentage of their missing vitality. For example, a character with 30 vitality will gain 70% damage bonus. So why does this go through shields? Why would I boost someone else's damage output? The enemy specifically. Why?